Katibu mkuu wa UVCCM ambaye pia ni mtetezi wa haki za vijana Jokate ameshiriki kikao cha 69 cha kamisheni ya Umoja wa Mataifa kuhusu hali ya wanawake CSW 69 kilichofanyika makao makuu ya Umoja wa Mataifa New York nchini Marekani, akiwakilisha Tanzania, ambapo ameeleza jinsi mabadiliko ya sheria aliyoyafanya Rais wa Jamhuri ya Muungano wa Tanzania Daktari Samia Suluhu Hassan yalivyochochea zaidi ushiriki wa wanawake kwenye vyombo vya maamuzi nchini, akisema Rais Samia amewaheshimisha wanawake. Jokate ameiongelea safari yake ya kiuongozi ilivyogubikwa na changamoto alizozigeuza kama fursa na kufanya aaminike kwenye nafasi mbalimbali serikalini na CCM. Hapa namnukuu akisema, safari yangu ni ya usubutu na kupambania mabadiliko kupitia sera makini, malezi ya viongozi na mifumo imara ya usaidizi. Nimeongoza juhudi zinazowezesha maelfu ya vijana kutambua kuwa uongozi ni njia inayowezekana. Nikiwa DC Kisarawe, tumejenga shule ya kwanza ya wasichana ya bweni Jokate Sekondari. Nikateuliwa kuwa DC kwenye wilaya 2 nyingine, na leo nimekuwa katibu mkuu wa kwanza mwanamke wa UVCCM tangu kuanzishwa kwake mwaka 1978. Amesema Tanzania imeongeza uwakilishi wa wanawake, ingawa zipo changamoto chache kwa kuwa wanawake wengi hawajawakilishwa katika ngazi za juu za maamuzi, na kusema ni muhimu kuimarisha programu za malezi ya viongozi na ufadhili, kutekeleza mageuzi yanayozingatia usawa wa kijinsia, kutumia majukwaa ya kidijitali, kubadilisha mitazamo na kuanzisha mifumo endelevu ya ufadhili. Jokate ameshiriki jukwaa na viongozi mashuhuri wa kimataifa, akiwemo mkurugenzi mtendaji wa UN Women MSC Mabausi, mwakilishi wa kudumu wa Ugiriki UN Evangelos Sekers, wawakilishi kutoka mtandao wa Women International Finance WIF, waziri wa ustawi wa jamii wa Ugiriki Sofia Zakaraki, rais wa kwanza mwanamke wa Chile na mkurugenzi wa kwanza mtendaji wa UN Women Michelle Bachelet, mkurugenzi mtendaji wa GWL Voices na rais wa mkutano wa 73 ya Baraza la Jamhuri ya Kimataifa Maria Fernanda, na mawaziri wa Hispania na Slovenia. Elia Jackson Lupembe, hii ni News Update Media.
It's a pleasure to have you on our panel. So can you share with us what your journey to becoming a political leader in Tanzania, and what is it that motivates you?
Well, thank you, Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, fellow leaders and champions of gender equality. Back home in Tanzania, we love to say, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So I'm really deeply honored to be part of this distinguished panel at such a pivotal moment, marking 30 years since the Beijing Declaration, a milestone in the global movement for women's empowerment. As a political leader from Tanzania and a member of Club de Madrid and an advocate for inclusive governance, I stand before you as both a witness and a product of the relentless struggle for women's leadership in decision-making bodies. So my journey in leadership has been shaped by both challenges and opportunities. As I sit currently as the Secretary General of CCM's Youth Wing and former District Commissioner, I have navigated the complexities of politics and governance in a society where structural and cultural barriers often limit women's ascension to power. Prior to these roles, I have had a very interesting journey. I was a beauty queen. Yeah. And an African media personality. Quite known because of my work. And when I got appointed first as a district commissioner, this is it's appointment in government, part of the executive. There was so much, I stirred such a commotion back home. It led me to delete all of my images on Instagram. And mind you, as it stands today, I have around 9 million followers. So, yeah, I was vilified and crucified on social media. It was bad. And if for the weak, perhaps they could have committed suicide. Because people took my old pictures. You know when you're a beauty queen, you know you have your images, you're young, you know. I mean, the women in here, you know. So people took that and forgot all the other achievements I had achieved as an intellectual, as an academician. They were all diminished. And what lay on social media were all these things that were very petty. But so I had to delete all my images on social media. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to start afresh. I'm going to not use my time to prove a point, but I'm going to do my job. I had no time to prove a point. I had to make sure the trust that was set on me, I delivered. And through my leadership, we built the first girls' boarding school in a district that is predominantly cultural and that does not even foster education for girls. We built the first girls' boarding school from scratch. And today the school has more than 1,200 girls who are excelling leadership skills and doing fundamentally well. But we did a lot in tourism. We did a lot to increase the economy of the places. And from there, I got appointments to 2 other districts. And today, I stand as the first female Secretary General of the Youth Wing since its inception in 1978. Wow. And I say this when on my first panel on the 10th, I was like, okay, I say this with pride, but it's also a point of reflection. Why did it take so long? You know, it's a youth wing, it's a political position, but we've had more than 15 Secretary Generals and they've all been men. And it takes a lot of courage to sit in a seat that was previously occupied by men to prove that you're worthy and to create more opportunities for other girls after you leave. So it's not easy. It is not for the faint-hearted. So my story is one of resilience and transformation. And I believe it's through targeted policies, mentorship, and a strong support system, I have been able to lead initiatives that have empowered thousands of young people, especially women, to see leadership as a viable path. But I must say this, my journey is not unique. It is a testament to what happens when systems begin to shift, when women are not just included, but empowered with tools, policies, and networks to thrive in leadership roles. So coming back to the Tanzanian context, we've made strides in promoting women in leadership with key appointments in government, business, and civil society. As it stands, we have a good representation of around 37% of women in parliament, around 118, mostly because of women quotas. Back home, we call them special seats. And we are proud now to have our first woman president, Madam Samia Suluhu Hassan, standing at the helm of power in the executive in Tanzania. And to be honest, through her, we have seen a lot of improvements in policies, in legislature. Last year, for the first time, we have a penal code for violence against women in elections. And every political party is mandated to have a gender policy and a gender desk so that we can address issues of gender parity from the political stance. This, I believe, has been achieved because we have a woman on the seat of the presidential capacity, at the presidential capacity. But she's done a lot, and personally, as a young woman leader, I am very proud of her. And this year we have elections. I must say it here, I'm going to champion for her because we need to rally behind women who are courageous and show exceptional leadership qualities. And I'm going to do that personally, in my capacity as a leader, but as a woman in Tanzania. One of the biggest barriers women face is the perception that leadership is a space they must prove they deserve, rather than a right they hold inherently. This is why institutional reform, mentorship, gender-sensitive policies are critical to dismantling long-standing power imbalances. So what is my call to action for everyone present here today? And I must say, I did not expect a full room, but who am I saying that? It's the PR of Greece we're talking about. And WIF we're talking about. So we couldn't expect anything less. So let's strengthen mentorship and sponsorship programs. Women must not only be encouraged to lead, but actively supported by those in power. Let's not only encourage young girls to lead, let us actively be engaged in their journey. Because as I said, leadership is not for the faint-hearted. It's easy not to sustain. It's easy to fall back. Because there's so much working against us. So if we encourage young girls to get into leadership, let's make sure we are actively involved in their journey so that they reach their full leadership potentials. But second, let us continue to prioritize institutional reforms. Political and cultural and corporate structures must integrate gender-sensitive policies that ensure leadership pathways for women. But also let's leverage on digital platforms. Social media, digital campaigns can be powerful tools in shifting narratives around women in leadership and amplifying success stories. Let us not quit on amplifying success stories, on mainstreaming women and what they do, because the social media is brutal. A lot of girls shy away from social media because of vilification, because of bullying. So if we have institutions, governments, everyone involved, all the stakeholders involved, let's make sure we amplify as much as possible stories of girls who are doing great and amazing things in their respective areas. But last but not least, let's create sustainable funding mechanisms. Women in politics and business must have access to financial resources that enable them to compete effectively. I say political emancipation of women is synonymous to their political emancipation. Like, we cannot expect the same women who have been sidelined economically to gain momentum if they don't have anything to help them compete, if they don't have the resources to help them compete in competitive politics. You know, you can't compete in competitive politics if you don't have the right resources, including the financial capabilities to have people rally behind you and have sound campaigns. So let us make sure we create funds. I know there are so many funds that are geared towards enabling women to be economically sound, but let's also see how we can have funds for women who are interested in leadership positions, especially those who are vying for competitive positions in politics. So ladies and gentlemen, this conversation is not just about breaking glass ceilings. It is about rebuilding institutions so that ceilings no longer exist. Leadership should not be a privilege for a select few, but a right that is accessible to every qualified woman, regardless of background. Personally, I'm committed to equipping young women, and I call everyone here with the education, resources, and networks they need to step into leadership with confidence. And I invite all stakeholders present today to collaborate, ensuring that the next generation of women leaders face fewer or no barriers than we did. So let me end by saying that together, let us not just mark 30 years since Beijing, but let us redefine the next 30. Thank you.